Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie, and I'm just doing this quick video because I just want us to have a think about as we come into the 6th week of the mushroom murder trial that we've been following from week 1. What is this lady's defence going to be? Because the prosecution case should rest on Monday, probably. It should have rested already, really. But anyway, it's been strung out a little bit. And then Erin's defence lawyer, Mr. Colin Mandy, he will be giving Erin's defence. What is Erin's defence going to be? So just a quick reminder, Erin, of course, is accused of putting death cap mushrooms in a lunch that she made for these 4 unfortunate people. And this is her estranged husband Simon's parents. On the left there, Don and Gail. And Gail's sister Heather and her husband Ian all were violently ill after going to lunch at Erin's house. And the prosecution is alleging that the reason for that is that Erin took these mushrooms, death cap mushrooms, toxic, lethal mushrooms, put them in a dehydrator, dried them out, and somehow put them in a beef Wellington dish and served it up to her dinner guests. And they became violently ill. In the description box, you'll find the playlist, all the videos that we've done. We've followed the case from day one. I won't go into the whole thing here. And it's this man's job, Colin Mandy, to try and give some sort of defence. So there's been lots of things, as I say, if you watch the playlist, I think you might think that the case against Erin is overwhelming. But anyway, watch the playlist, leave your comments, let me know what you think. Is Erin guilty of deliberately poisoning these poor people? Or was it all a tragic accident, as she claims? She bought these mushrooms, according to her, from an Asian supermarket. She did not know that they were poisonous. Could that possibly be true? So, if you, as I say, watch the playlist, or if you have already watched, you know a lot about this case, leave your comments as to what you think below. But anyway, she's going to find her fate next week. Now, one of those people survived, Ian Wilkinson. He survived after a liver transplant. The 2 ladies were too ill for a liver transplant and died, unfortunately. And Don, the other gentleman, he did also receive a liver transplant, but unfortunately did not save him. So we're going to have a look at what Erin's defence might possibly be, just as a quick video, because I think it's pretty much accepted that she lied to detectives. She initially said she didn't have a dehydrator. She'd never had a dehydrator. But of course, it was found that she did, in fact, have a dehydrator that she took to the dump. The dump had remnants of death cap mushrooms in it. But anyway, so this looks like what Mr. Mandy's defence is. This is the only defence, really, that Erin has, it seems. Erin Patterson lied to the police, but she's no murderer. In a nutshell, that's what her defence case is. And evidence of Miss Patterson's lies to homicide detectives was shown to the Supreme Court of Victoria this week, as 21 minutes of her police interview was played to the jury. So a week after hosting this fatal beef Wellington lunch, let's have a look at a beef Wellington, I think. I need a picture of a beef Wellington up there. Maybe people don't know what it is, but it's a beef dish, beef covered in like a pastry. There you go. You can see some photos here. These all look lovely, don't they? And it had a mushroom paste around it, the one that Erin served up. And of course, a big bone of contention is she served it up on separate plates, separate beef Wellingtons on separate plates. Her plate was a different size and colour from the other people's plate. So I'm going to download one of these because I want to put a picture on my, that one, I think. So, yeah, let's go back here. Just, anyway. So this is likely to be her defense. She lied to the police, but she's not a murderer. It was an accident. So the video that the jury was shown contained all the hallmarks of the classic police interview: a plain grey-white walled room where Miss Patterson sat at a wooden table opposite two homicide detectives. The date on the footage was the August the 5th, 2023, but the grainy image, muffled audio and whirring police tape recorder portrayed a scene that could have been from 3 decades ago. Anyway, at the time of the interviews, doctors suspected that 4 of her lunch guests had ingested highly toxic death cap mushrooms. Don Patterson was sliding towards death, bless him, and his wife Gail and sister-in-law Heather Wilkinson had already passed. Heather's husband Ian was in a critical condition in intensive care. And Miss Patterson, who claimed to have eaten the same meal, had been out of hospital for 4 days. So Detectives Stephen Eppinstall and David Martin Al-Qaeda wanted to know more about the mushrooms in the meal and items from the kitchen. Mr. Eppinstall asked her, "Do you know anything about a dehydrator in your house?" "No," she replied. "Do you own a dehydrator?" he asked. "No," she responded. And evidence shown to the court during the trial would expose this as a lie. Not only had Miss Patterson sent photos of the electronic dehydrator to friends previously, but there was also security footage of her dumping the item at the local landfill after the lunch. "We got concerns in relation to the mushrooms and where they've come from," Mr. Eppinstall said. "Is that something you've done in the past, foraging?" "Never," Miss Patterson shot back, shaking her head. And that too was a lie, and her lawyers have conceded that she has been foraging. So this is Detective Senior Constable Stephen Eppinstall. He's the police informant in the case. I think I might download his photo as well. Sometimes they don't. Anyway, sorry. So, on the trial's opening day, defence barrister Colin Mandy SC addressed the jury, and he said she lied about getting rid of the dehydrator. She admits that. She did forage for mushrooms, but just so we make it clear, she denies that she ever deliberately sought out death cap mushrooms. So these are more lies from Erin. She's told a lot of lies. Of course, the biggest lie she told was these lunch guests that she invited round for lunch. The biggest lie she told was she told them she had cancer. And she told them at some point, she told her ex-mother-in-law she had to have a biopsy. She had to have an MRI scan. All these were proven to be lies. So she is a liar. She is a Pinocchio. In his opening address, which was short, given the early stage of the trial, Mr. Mandy did not state when and where Miss Patterson had foraged, but he asked the jury to consider Miss Patterson's feelings. Sorry, I just can't help it. And her state of mind in the days following the lunch, a time when her relatives were either dead or dying, and she was under the scrutiny of health officials, police, and the media. Might someone panic in a situation like that? Mr. Mandy queried. Yes, you would panic when you'd done it. Anyway, so, we've heard all this evidence over the past 5 weeks. More than 50 people have been called to testify by prosecutors, some via video link, for example, Erin's children, and others who wrote statements. And the witnesses have included the sole lunch guest survivor, Ian Wilkinson. Let's have a little look at Ian. And Ian, see, he looks well now, thank goodness, because he came so close to dying, this poor man, didn't he? So, so it's the witnesses have included him, her husband, Simon. Let's have a look at Simon's photo. Her estranged husband, Simon, which I think her bitterness towards him is, the crux of the motive for Erin. I think she is a control freak. This is my own opinion. I mean, she's not been found guilty yet. This is an opinion that I have. I think she's a control freak. I think she didn't like the fact that Simon didn't seem to always be doing what she wanted him to do. She didn't like the fact his family was sticking up for him. And she just, did it out of spite. That's my personal opinion. I think this woman is spiteful. And, that's my opinion. And the amount of lies she's told, I just cannot, Now, is she going to take the stand? That'd be interesting if she actually takes the stand. I doubt it very much, but you never know. Mr. Mandy, the defence lawyer, it's his decision, isn't it? Well, it's Erin's decision, really, but he'll advise her whether she should take the stand or not. I don't think it'd be a good idea personally, but you know what? Erin just does what she wants to do. So also it included their 2 children, doctors, nurses, paramedics, toxicologists, public servants, an electronics store owner, a tip manager, and church volunteers. So there's been a lot of witnesses. There's been a lot of expert testimony from leaders in the fields of emergency medicine, phone towers, mushrooms. Remember Funky Tom? We cannot forget Funky Tom, the mushroom expert. We all know a lot more about mushrooms than we did before, that's for sure. There's been examination, cross-examination and re-examination of the police who picked apart Miss Patterson's phone and computer records, those who searched her home and the officers that ran the murder investigation. And according to the defence, that evidence, all that evidence that's been supplied over 5 weeks by the prosecution, according to the defence, it does not prove beyond reasonable doubt that Miss Patterson is a murderer. She's always maintained her innocence. She's pled not guilty to the attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson and the alleged murders of Heather Wilkinson, Don Patterson and Gail Patterson. And on the opening day, Mr. Mandy said the intention to kill or cause anyone any harm at all is very much in dispute. And so tomorrow, or tonight in Australia, the trial continues. Oh, excuse me, bless me. So leave your comments. Let me know what you think. What do you think this last week? Hopefully it's the last week. What do you think this last week is going to bring? This is the judge, Justice Beale, in the case. And if Erin is found guilty, what will the sentence be, I wonder? So, as always, let me know what you think in comments. And I will see you tomorrow to talk about this case, to hear the latest. It's been a funny old trial, hasn't it? There's been some days where it's been long days of evidence, lots of information to take on board. And then there's been really short days. On Friday, there was just an hour of testimony. In fact, I think it might have even been half an hour. So what will tomorrow be? You know, this has been a long trial. And despite the judge saying early on that maybe it would not take the 6 weeks that had been programmed for this trial, it has. Because by the time, you know, the prosecution's still got to finish off. The defence have got to give their defence. I suppose they have closing arguments, do they, in Australian trials? And then the jury will be sent out for deliberation. So there's still a little way to go here. Anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for caring about these people, these victims. And I'll see you really soon in the next video, which will be tomorrow, about the mushroom murders. And as always, may your God go with you. Bye.